wasn't broadcasting.
Oh, it is
Now
not.
it is. It's good. You want to check and see what audio feed is coming in? Is from the Mevo?
We have to do is point.
The radio speaks the truth, ma'am. Give it a try.
Can you fight your way to that refrigerator back there? It's gone.
Now it's my turn, honey. I've really been dreading trying to move that big... I would never have believed it.
All you have to do is point.
I never knew this place was so big.
Wait till you see the backyard.
Just call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
Northeast Mortgages presents The Real Estate Show with Chantal Desjardins and Terry Kilakos, live online and on CJAD 800.
We're talking about the new mortgage reality and how it's changing in 2018. Give us a call with your questions, real estate, anything you want to talk to Terry about. 514-790-0800 or text us at 514-800. We're back live on Facebook. Terry's got a squeaky mic.
Did you hear that?
I heard. Yeah, I think everybody heard it.
Like I need to bring like some
WD-40.
Yeah,
bring
exactly.
Some. I was going to say
Jigaloo.
lube.
Jigaloo.
So
like what happened in Sri Lanka exactly that
I went on a safari
whipping things out and...
I went on Terry asked me how my safari was, but he said it in air quotes and I was like, what does that mean? Does that mean I didn't go on a safari? So like a secret. Anyways,
but yeah,
let's go to Joe in Laval. What do you think?
Yeah, let's go to Joe.
Joe,
this is like the generating.
Hi. How are you?
Hey Joe, very good, Joe.
All right. No, I just you talk a lot about the market heating up in Montreal.
Yeah.
Just wondering, is that phenomenon still spilling over to the suburbs, like let's say Laval?
Absolutely. So what's happening is obviously when you're looking at Montreal core, right? The prices are obviously starting to go up. They're starting to go up. Laval is the next one that's actually been going up. It hasn't actually been going up as fast as Montreal, but it has been going up. What's interesting in Montreal is there's certain areas like Lachine, LaSalle, even Hochelaga, which were completely, the properties, as far as I'm concerned, they were undervalued. Now they're actually selling for more. So Laval is going up. And then past Laval is starting to like boom as well, right? So anything along that 15 North corridor and 13 North corridor, I mean, it's really starting to get up there. So definitely it's happening.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, Joe.
Thanks,
Have
Joe.
a great day.
And we've got some questions on Facebook.
Yeah, we have a question here from Christina. Is it still hard to get a house for first-time buyers? No, it's not hard. It's just different.
What you're going to get for your money is a little bit less.
Exactly. So, I think people need to change kind of their expectations. They need to change what they were thinking about, what they were able to qualify for, and what they can. So a lot of times what I'm finding is people that came in, they got qualified a year ago, a year and a half ago, prior to the new mortgage rules. They're expecting to go out and be able to qualify for a $500,000 house. But then when they get requalified based on the new rules, surprise, surprise, it's down to $400,000. And now these $400,000 homes are no longer actually home. They could have bought them basically a year and a half ago for, let's say, $350,000.
Wow.
So it's important that, a lot of the houses that these first-time home buyers are going to be buying, obviously there's exceptions to the rule, but they need to basically, put some elbow grease into them. There might be some things need to be fixed up. There needs to be some renovations done. What we found this year, there's a lot of homes that are selling where we've had to do purchase plus improvements for clients, right? So clients coming in, they're buying a house that's not renovated the way that they would have wanted it to be, but this is what they could afford based on the new mortgage rules. So what we have to do is we go in and we get them renovation money with that mortgage so that they can do the bathroom, do the kitchen, do whatever, bring the house up to the level that they want it at.
Right.
So it's possible. It's just you got to change your...
It's just got to be creative a little bit.
Exactly. You got to change your approach.
Terry Kilakos, president of Northeast Mortgages. Do you have any more other Facebook messages you want to get to, or we'll go to a couple other things?
No, Olympia was like, what happened? Because our feed cut off.
But we're back. We're back, baby.
We're back.
So in the new mortgage reality, what would you say are some of the most important aspects to consider?
So obviously, I mean, you got to look at, we talk about the three different elements, right? The elements that are required when you're applying for a mortgage. So your credit, your income, and your equity. So obviously, credit is paramount. You got to make sure that your credit is always good. I mean, this was old rules, new rules. It doesn't matter. You got to preserve that credit. You got to make sure that you're monitoring it. You got to make sure that your credit is constantly going up and there's nothing that pops up in there with nasty surprises, right? The second thing is you want to make sure that your down payment is properly set up as well. When we're talking about down payments, typically banks want to see 90 days of history. So they want to see that money that you have for the down payment has been sitting in your bank account or your RSP or your TFSA or wherever it is, sitting there for at least 90 days. If you're getting a gift, that's fine. You are allowed to get a gift from your parents, your grandparents, to buy that house. But again, that too has to be set up correctly. So it's important that down payments are taken care of and set up correctly. Make sure that if you're going to be putting money in RSPs, tweak it properly. Make sure you're maximizing what you're able to return from taxes. So that's that. That's part of the job that we do. The third thing is your income. And income is one of these things, and we had a show a couple of weeks ago where we talked about self-employed people and how it's important for self-employed people to not just say, well, you know what, I made $100,000 and I'm going to get my accountant to write off every last dollar. You got to make sure that income is so important right now with these new mortgage rules. You want to maximize every dollar that you're able to get. So essentially, if you could declare $35,000 and then offset that income by something else, do it. If you could declare 50, do it, because that's what's going to give you that buying power. That's what's going to offset those stress tests that the government has basically gone and put in there.
Right. Which is so different from what, even when we did that show, a lot of people are like, what? You're supposed to write off as much as you can and have your salary look like it was as little as possible. But
exactly.
Except when you're trying to get a mortgage, then,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and, you know, I've heard it so many times where people are going to say, well, I'm not planning on buying a house, so I'm not going to declare. Life changes. Things happen, you know, and hindsight's 20/20. You know, a lot of times people come and they see me and they're like, so what can I afford? And I look at their notice of assessment. I'm like, you declared $1,000 last time.
Not going to get a whole lot for.
There's a cardboard box that you can, you know. I have to, hold on. I have to, no offense to anyone.
Living in a cardboard box, we have to.
I got a bunch of nasty emails last.
No, you didn't.
I did.
Last week?
No, a couple of weeks back.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Would you remember what you said?
Yeah, I don't know. I made like some sort of silly comment about like financial planners, and I upset someone.
Oh, so you got emails from all the financial planners.
Yeah, exactly.
Terry Kilakos, president of Northeast Realty. Now, what was some of we only have about a minute and a half here, but what was okay to do before that you can't do anymore?
Oh, I would say the income.
Okay,
the
that's
income
the biggest
is huge.
one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's like, again, that's the thing that is paramount, you know.
Right.
And you got to remember, and that the other thing, and it just happened this week. I had a client. He calls me up. He's like, "Great news! I got a new job. I'm like ready to go. I want to put an offer on a house." And I'm like, "Awesome!" He got an increase in his salary with a new job. He's getting like $30,000 more. I was like, "Fantastic!" And I'm like, "So are you on probation?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "How long is your probation for?" And he goes, 3 months. I was like, "You can't apply.
Buy a place.
You can't.
I know that.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't. It's one of those things that you can't. You know, that's important. If you're going to change jobs, you can't be on probation. So.
Terry Kilakos, if you have any questions for him, call us 514-790-0800. Text us at 514-800 or head over to Facebook. Type in Terry Kilakos. You can watch us live. We're dancing in the studio.
Whipping things out.
We're whipping things out. And we're going to get things back on track when we come back talking about the new mortgage reality and what that means for you moving forward.
The Real Estate Show is brought to you by Northeast Mortgages.
Spring's here, and it's a great time to give your dining room a new look. Until March 31st, Germain Larivière offers discounts of up to 20% on selected tables, chairs, and stools. Also, glass tops, barnwood, and wrought iron, as well as its Quebec creations and customized furniture. Germain Larivière has the comfortable, practical furniture to suit your dining room and your guests.
Germain Larivière, enchanté.
Saint-Hyacinthe, Laval, Quartier des 30.
Today's Entrepreneur highlights inspiring Quebec business owners every week. This week, we welcome back Fabio and Joseph Zappili of Bad Monkey Popcorn. The past 3 years for these returning guest entrepreneurs is filled with lessons learned. As they are now 5 times the number of people since their first full year, Fabio and Joseph will share their philosophy for growth, including their marketing strategy, which goes from grassroots basics to online branding.
Join FL Fuller Landau's Josh Miller and me, Dan Delmar, for Today's Entrepreneur tomorrow night at 7 on News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
Just $45 a week is all it costs. Zero cash down to lease a 2018 Corolla CE at Chamonix Toyota Laval. Hurry!
Learning how to knit? Come into Fabricville and discover our great selection of yarns, tools, and free patterns to cast on your next project. Fabricville, inspiring your creativity.
Fabricville, value never looks so good.
There is a best you, and in the heart of the West Island, you can see it at Access Medica Aesthetics. Their team of professionals offer optimal skin health and personalized care with the finest, most luxurious products. Access Medica Aesthetics delivers the best non-surgical treatments for skin rejuvenation, laser hair removal, and injectables in the hands of their caring experts. Book your free consultation and your Visia complexion analysis today. Visit accessmedica.ca.
Bang, bang.
Okay, so anyways, we have
So
Chantal had like a story that she had to tell us, and we couldn't be live because it was
No.
That's what happened. That is what happened.
So if there's any lip readers out there, just read her lips. And you'll know exactly what she said. Yeah, there's a couple of more questions that just came in.
Excellent.
And
you were mentioning
there's someone here that wants to know if you're single.
Oh, I'm not. You just missed it. You just missed the boat. Thanks, though. What's his name?
What? You shouldn't know his name.
I shouldn't know his name? It's better not to even know?
Weren't you supposed to cross over?
Whoops. I never do. Am I supposed to do that?
Yeah.
Oh, he's not in there?
He's in there now. I'm gonna go get us coffees.
No,
man.
But we're live! Now I gotta
We've
talk
got
to the
3
people
minutes.
about myself. Marab, why don't you come and hang out in Terry's
so
spot?
just put it up a bit so that I can hear when we're back on.
Okay.
Just a tad, just a tad.
This much?
Just a tad.
All right, Marab. So tell us what's the latest this week.
So the latest and greatest.
Yeah. Okay. You can do work stuff. You can do
we
not
booked
work
our
stuff.
Greece tickets for
When
the
you go to
summer.
Greece?
In the summer.
When?
End of July.
Nice. And is that like the time to go to Greece? Like
no, we just booked it for 3 weeks.
Okay, but like summer there is summer here.
Yeah, it's summer there, summer here.
Okay.
But I mean, it's construction holiday. It's a little bit quieter, you know.
Nice, beautiful.
Trying to be responsible with our business.
Love it. And what are you gonna do in Greece? You've been there a bunch of times.
I have not. Terry has been a bunch of times. But I have not.
I've never been to Greece, and it's on my bucket list. Like I would love to hit up Greece.
I'm looking forward.
Do you have anything planned? You know what you want to do there?
We're gonna do a couple of islands. We're not gonna do the typical touristy islands.
No.
With the kids and all that, they see Santorini as too romantic for kids, and
what?
Mykonos is too party for kids. So I don't know.
They see it as too party for kids, or you guys see it as too party for
I
kids?
see it as too party.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe it would be somewhere where we would go after.
What's a middle ground?
There's other islands. There's like hundreds of islands in Greece. So
I've heard that there's a bunch, but like Santorini and Mykonos are like
yeah,
the
but
ones
it's the
that you
tourist
hear about.
traps.
Yeah.
Those are probably the ones I would do.
Probably
outside the high season.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's great. Cool.
Fun.
And you're taking all the kids. It's gonna be a big
All the
family.
kids.
Do you do a lot of family vacays? Like, is it stressful traveling with like 3 kids? No.
No, we have good kids.
Okay, good. 3 boys. So,
3 boys, and even our 18-year-old, who I was
Gets
surprised
along
wanted to come.
Great, that's nice.
Yeah.
Alright. Fun. Good.
Yeah,
Good.
I'm not gonna ask you. You're probably gonna be in some exotic country. I'm going to Dubai.
Well, I'm going to New York tomorrow.
Okay.
I actually flew back through Qatar on the way back from Sri Lanka. And I had to Google some things about Qatar. And they have camel racing is huge in Qatar. And they have TV channels designated only for camel racing. 24 hours a day. You just flip, and it's just camels, racing. How crazy is that? Also, their weekends.
There was 1 coffee cup.
Oh, sorry, we're just going over a little thing because you took off. So Marav and I are now hosting the show. And Terry's jingling a jingle bell.
What's he doing?
Why do you have a Santa hat? Do you know
I don't
how
know.
dirty that Santa hat is? Like, where does that even come
I
from?
don't know. I found it.
I know, and you just put it on.
I
I don't want any part of your lice. I don't want any part of your lice
have
infected.
like no hair.
Not from lice from you, from wherever you
Don't
found
ever
it
do
from.
that on a woman. Don't ever do that on a woman.
Why?
Don't ever do that.
That is for sure. I'm just gonna get all the bugs.
You never just put a hat. You're bald, so I get you can do it. But like women,
No.
you will never put a strange hat, a Santa hat that you found on the ground,
Like a random hat?
like a rando hat.
You can have your seat back, and
No,
I'm
sit,
happy
sit,
you
sit.
got yourself a coffee.
I
did
was-
get your
actually,
wife
this
a
is-
coffee?
this is-
Yeah, well,
This is
whatever.
for you.
Yeah, right.
It is.
No, it's all good. Take it.
I cannot
Take it.
believe.
There was only one mug.
Yeah, and
I
obviously
came in
there's
and
only
we
one.
If there's only one
then
mug.
he gets
Okay,
it,
the
right?
first
This
thing-
is
the
a
first
good
thing that I-
marriage question.
The first. Oh, there's a mug over there.
Yeah, I'm gonna take some random dirty mug. Yeah,
Exactly,
Good
along with
idea.
the dirty hat.
There was one mug,
Yeah.
and as soon as I walked in, I said, "Do you want it?" There was one mug.
I cannot believe.
This poor man is on hold for 5 minutes 43 seconds.
I know.
We're gonna get to Raymond.
Poor Raymond. And you have a couple Facebook things?
Yeah, there's a few.
You have text too, no?
We have text. We have Facebook questions.
Did you open up
and
the text
Bad
console?
credit.
We are off.
Yep.
We are off for the next 2 weeks.
Where are you gonna be?
No,
It's
then
Easter.
next week is Easter.
Yeah.
And the
Easter
week
Sunday,
after
and the
is
week
Greek
after
Easter.
is Greek Easter Sunday. So
Oh.
2 Sundays.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
That's the way love goes.
That's the way love goes.
No, Janet Jackson. Janet Jackson. That's the way.
love goes.
No. That's the way love goes. You don't know that song?
Yeah, but I just need you to sing it more for me.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, could lower that speaker.
Anyways, yeah.
Sunday,
So
next
so when I did the show
You
a
can
couple
lower
weeks
that if you
ago,
want.
traffic was fantastic. Okay,
Yeah.
the crossover for perfect. The 30 when I had to like disaster.
Really?
I was like, okay, so we're gonna be coming back after the break. Okay? So
really?
see you later. I was
We're
like,
gonna come
see
back
you.
after the break. I'll see you around.
It was
That's so
hilarious.
funny.
We are chatting about the new mortgage reality, how it's changing in 2018. Call us with your questions, 514-790-0800, or text us, 514-800. Head over to Facebook and type in Terry Kilakos. You can watch us live. Let's head over to Raymond in DDO, who has been very patiently waiting on hold. Raymond?
Hi, how are you?
Hey, Raymond.
Thanks for waiting.
Raymond's
No
from
problem.
my hood.
Yeah?
I see dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to know 3 questions. The first question is, I have a mortgage myself right now, and I'd like to know if I were to switch to a different bank, does the bank check your credit to switching into a different bank? And the second question is, how many days do you have to work to apply for a different mortgage to a different bank?
Okay. So, yeah. Sorry.
And the third question is, could you recommend any kind of institution to accept lower rates for mortgages?
Okay. So lower rates. You're talking about lower credit scores or lower. What's like the lowest interest rates?
Interest rates.
Okay. So let's tackle each question. So question number 1. Does the bank do a credit check when you're switching? Yes. So if you're with Bank ABC and you want to switch to Bank XYZ, the new financial institution or the new bank is going to be doing a credit check to make sure that you would still qualify for that mortgage. So that if you stay with your existing bank, they don't do that. So they're not going to check your credit again. And if they do, chances are they'll still renew you. So that's number 1. Question number 2 was how long do you have to work at a job to be able to qualify for a mortgage? Correct? That's what you're asking.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
So
I think you asked the question right before. That's like I think it's three months. It depends.
yeah, well, it depends. As long as you're not on probation. I mean, you could literally be working somewhere for 2 weeks. If you're not on probation, it's all good. Okay, you don't have to. You'll qualify for it, so it's not a problem. When we request for income verification, we're going to ask for a pay stub, and we ask for a letter of employment. If the letter of employment says that he's been here for 2 weeks and he's not on probation, you're good, no problem. But if it says you've been here for 2 weeks and you're on probation, we have to wait the full 3 months or 6 months, depending on the place that you're working. And the third one is It depends on what you're looking for. There's a lot of different banks. I mean, when you're dealing with a mortgage broker, this is where the difference comes in between going with a bank, right? You go to a bank, pretty much every one of the big 5 banks is the same. The interest rates are the same, the conditions are the same. It's pretty cut and dry. When you're dealing with a mortgage broker, we deal with 20 plus different lenders, right? We have the banks, we have alternative lenders, we have credit unions, we have everyone right under the sun. So basically what we do is we sit down, we look at the conditions, we look at the mortgages the way that you want them set up, and then we make a decision based on conditions and based on interest rate as to which one we're going to go with. You know, I'll give you something simple. If you're going to be doing a switch and you have to pay notary fees and you have to do this and you have to do that, but they're going to give you a lower rate, right? But then there's another bank that's going to give you a little bit of a higher rate, but they cover all your transfer expenses. It's a simple calculation we do, and it's fairly black and white. And we look what makes more sense. Do we pay the notary fees for the transfer, or do we go for the higher rate and have them pay for it? Hope that answers your question.
Right, it does. Thank you.
Thanks,
Absolutely,
Ray.
Raymond.
Terry Kilakos, president of Northeast Mortgages, answering your questions. 514-790-0800 or send us a text 514-800. Now we have Pat on the line. Hello, Pat.
Hey, Pat.
Hi, how are you?
Excellent.
Okay, I'm unfortunately an apartment building owner.
Okay.
And all my revenue comes from apartment buildings.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's,
Well,
I'll tell you why. It's unfortunately in a second. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Last year I declared $70,000 of revenue.
Yeah.
Net revenue.
Mhm.
And I'm having problems getting a mortgage. Where do I go for a mortgage?
So you're having problems getting a mortgage for a non-multi-unit property, correct?
Right. I want to
Yeah.
buy a residential house. I'm putting down half of 50% cash down.
Okay. So
with the sale of my house, and I want to mortgage the rest.
So we could do it. Okay, we do have lenders that will do that, and they're going to do it at a very good interest rate. So you can give me a call at the office. I'll set you up with someone. I mean, this is what we do. But the challenge that you're facing is, unfortunately, what most landlords face. There's a lot of landlords, and now I'm going to say it's a lot of Greeks, a lot of Italians, a lot of Portuguese who basically ended up buying a lot of real estate, and then they retired early. They said, you know what, I'm collecting enough rents coming in. I don't need to work anymore, so I'm going to collect my rents, take care of my revenue properties.
Sounds great.
It does sound great. But the problem is that it doesn't matter how much you're making. Even if you're making, let's say, $200,000 a year that you're declaring on your notice of assessment, the bank is going to look at those revenues and they're going to say, no, it's all coming from rents. So because it's coming from rents, we don't consider it. We don't look at it as income. It's completely backwards. It's completely backwards. I
don't get it.
Trust me, I'm a landlord myself, and I don't get it. I have had these arguments with banks for the better part of 15 years now, and as far as I'm concerned, I mean, the banks are completely backwards on it, but this is the way that the government has set up rules, and this is the way policies have been made. But that's not to say that...
The only thing I can do is go for a private lender. And
No, not at all, not at all. We have banks that'll actually give you the mortgage at a very good interest rate, but again, you see, this is the difference between you going to a bank and coming to a mortgage broker, right? So if you go to a bank, you're going to go to your bank, and your bank's going to say, no, sorry, you don't have revenues. You're going to go to another bank, they're going to say no. You're going to go to another one, they're going to say no. When you come to a mortgage broker that's actually used to doing business like this, you're going to come to me, I'm going to say, okay, I know exactly where to place it, just because I've had, 300 other people before you do the same thing. So it all comes down to that. It's just knowing where to go. So, I mean, by all means, give me a call. It's free, so we might as well set you up.
All right.
Thanks, Pat.
Have a good one.
A few texts coming in at 514-800. I would like to know if my husband has good credit, but mine is not the greatest. Can we still apply together? Thanks, Amanda.
Yeah, you can. I mean, obviously, your credit score is going to impact the buying power of the house, especially, if the credit score is really bad, it could actually hurt the file. In a situation like that, if the income is not needed, typically what I will do is I will put the property only in one person's name. So let's say in this case, it would be in the husband's name. And when you go to notary, you do what's called a declaration of family residence. which means that you're registering your name on the title of the property, basically saying, listen, this house is a family home, so he can't turn around and sell the house out from under you. And then we work on rebuilding that credit and then getting you back on the property in a year or a year and a half or 2 years, whenever the credit is repaired.
I like it. Terry Kilakos, president of Northeast Mortgages. Call us 514-790-0800. Text us 514-800. Hi, Terry. How are you? My son has $100,000 down payment on a house. He's in the Army, but he only works part-time. Would he qualify for a mortgage?
Yeah, 2 years notice of assessment. So as long as we look at 2 years notice of assessment, we can see what the average income is over the last 2 years, and we qualify based on that.
And we have one coming in. Bad credit, great income, good down payment. What do you suggest?
So remember, again, it goes back to the financing triangle, right? So the 3 elements: credit, income, equity. When there's weakness on one side, so if there's weakness on the credit side, the income and the equity need to make up for that weakness. If there's weakness on the income, the down payment and the credit have to make up for it. So as long as we're able to balance it out, you will be able to get a mortgage. So if the credit is bad, the income is really good, and the down payment is good, I don't see any problem with it.
Now, the new mortgage reality, we're in a seller's market. We'll do a little, like a quick one here before we look at the roads, but would you have an upper hand if you use a realtor as a buyer in a seller's market?
Yes, absolutely. Because you want someone that's going to be representing you. You want someone that's going to be basically pouncing on those listings when they first come up. Most people don't have all day to spend looking at listings as they're coming up, right? So in a market like this, you need someone there to represent you, to basically hound the other real estate brokers and look out for your interests. If you're doing it on your own, ça va pas marcher.
Ça va pas marcher. 514-790-0800. Text us 514-800. That's Terry Kilakos. I am Chantal Desjardins. Coming up, more on the mortgage, the new mortgage reality, and what that means for you when applying for a mortgage in 2018. But first, here's a look at the roads with Kira Yeager.
All right, well, I'm looking at Décarie North right now. I do see a delay over there. You're backing down to around Côte St. Catherine.
Yeah. The bomb.
Not that bomb?
No. I can't believe you didn't want to wear like the
rose Santa hat. I can't believe you put a Santa hat on your head that you found on the ground. Like,
there's a couple of.
Yay, Marav's back.
I'm back. Well, you know what you always said. It's just the voice.
I know. We need to see more.
We don't want to hear just the voice.
Yeah, there's a couple of
Facebook
messages as well.
Let's
just a little FYI.
Let's do that when we come back.
That coffee looks really good.
Here, have some.
Okay, so for those just tuning in now, Terry's like, I'll go get his coffee, honey, to the love of his life. And then he comes back with one coffee. And the coffee was not for Marav, the coffee was for Terry. Now, I don't want to, like, throw shade, but when shade needs to be thrown, I will just pour it on. And then he kind of said, I brought it for you. But you know, he was like...
Oh, no, it wasn't.
We know it wasn't. It wasn't.
It just wasn't. But he's going to pay for that mistake.
Oh, yes, he will. But there's a couch with your name on it that you're going to get real acquainted with.
Oh, no, we don't do that. We don't do the couch thing.
That's nice. No. I don't agree with that
either.
They
just go in the car.
Forget the couch.
Seeing as you like your car so much, you're going to be sleeping.
Yeah, Terry got a new car.
Well, yeah.
It's pretty sweet. Pretty sweet.
Sweet ride.
Right?
Yeah.
Pretty sweet ride.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about the car?
We don't talk about
the car. We don't talk about
materialistic
people. No, but it is our nice car.
So that's it.
That's it. I feel like we should have. I feel like behind the scenes should be like relationship advice.
Okay,
so
what do you? Oh, we're like a therapy here,
right? So how long have you guys been together?
We've been together for Terry. Let's
16
see.
years.
16 years. Okay, good. And
ask me how many years married.
How many years married?
42. Bam.
You've been married?
Hey, sorry.
You've been married for 42 years?
12 years.
I was like,
12 years.
How old are you? You've been married since you were like 1?
He was so proud of that.
Okay, so
Terry was just so proud of a number that he just threw out there.
So all the people out in Facebook land, okay, so check this out. I decided that I wasn't going to get married until I turned 30. And the logic behind it is because it'll be easy for me to remember how many years I'm married. So I'm 42 right now.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I got married when I'm 30.
But you just said you've been married 42 years.
No, 12 years. I said 42.
You did say 42.
Yeah, but
ask me how many years I've been married. Bam, 42.
12. Anyways, whatever.
So that was your logic? Was it just be easier math if you waited till you were 30?
Yeah, just for all the people out there, always get married when your birthday is like at a, on a decade or something. Just like an easy number. Because if you get married like at...
Oh, sorry, Terry. We just have to go back on the air now.
No, we don't.
Oh.
What are you talking about?
I thought we were going on.
They always do that.
They do always do that.
So if you get married like at, 33 or something.
Right, then it's hard.
Or at 27, who wants to do that math?
Yeah.
Right?
I get it. I get it. That's why I got divorced, actually, because the math was too hard.
Yeah. So now...
When I got married at 27, I was like, I'll never be able to figure out the math.
You're what now? You're like...
now I'm...
Never
28?
Now I'm 27 and a half.
Like...
Or 36.
I was going to say something really bad.
What were you going to say?
Nothing.
36, but I look like I'm 35 and a half.
We're not back yet. No.
I keep thinking we're back too.
Because I could hear.
You're actually listening at the same time?
You're listening?
He
You have
knows how
ears
to
on your
listen.
forehead?
Yeah, I'm multitasking.
The texts are pouring in.
Yeah.
I just got a weird one. What's that one? See, it's like written not in English, but not in French.
Qui vole pas là?
What does that mean? How many Facebook messages do we have? We have Roberto.
We have
We'll have
one.
to get to Roberto.
Let's get to Roberto.
Oh, well, you got a caller waiting first.
Yeah, we'll do Roberto and Vaudreuil.
I think this person is saying, hi, Val, from Paula.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, sorry, we just got a show to do here. Okay.
Chatting with my good friend Terry Kilakos, giving relationship advice off the air.
What's up?
You can check that out on Facebook if you type in Terry Kilakos. He's been married 42 years. He's not been married 42 years. It was a slip of the tongue.
Yeah.
President of Northeast Mortgages.
That's how long it feels like.
Oh, now he's getting in trouble. His better half. And the brains behind our organization is Marav, and she's sitting here giving us the glares. Call us 514-790-0800 or text us at 514-800. We have Roberto in Vaudreuil. Roberto, hello.
Hello.
Hey, Roberto.
Hey, there. I'm not going to give you marriage advice because I'm not good at it.
Chantal was trying to give us like marriage advice before, and what you're like on your sixth?
Oh,
one? Right,
I'm the Liz Taylor of.
Yeah. Sorry.
Wow.
Go ahead, Roberto.
Sixth is worse than me. Okay. No, I'm calling about trying to get a line of credit on my mom's house.
Okay.
I have power of attorney.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to get some money so we can actually renovate it. But we went with her existing bank, and apparently the money that she makes is not enough, or it was a bit of a, I don't know. I didn't
Kerfuffle? Yeah. Is there a mortgage on the property right now?
There's not a mortgage. It's just there's a line of credit with this bank, and all we wanted to do was increase it, but it seems to be a problem.
How much is the what's the value of the property?
On evaluation, it's about close to 400,000.
And how much is the line of credit on it?
She's approved for 94.
For 94,000. Okay, so that sounds to me like they're qualifying it 100% basically on the actual income. Instead of doing that, what I would suggest is you can look at equity type of mortgages. Okay, and an equity type of a mortgage typically will allow you to go up to 50% loan to value. The only problem is that the majority of banks don't do them anymore. They've actually been stopped. We have a couple of lenders that'll actually do it.
But is it like a line of credit, or is
yeah, we could set it up as a line of credit. Absolutely.
Okay. The bank that I'm talking about suggested that we get like a mortgage, like remortgage it. But I don't know how much money I'm gonna use. I don't want to pay for.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I understand that. If you know that you're going to be using the money for for renovations, but you don't know how much you want, no, a line of credit is not a bad idea. It's just a matter of setting it up correctly. But again, if you want, give me a call. I'll look at some options with you. We do have options. We could get you a line of credit based on equity. on the property, and yeah, we'll go from there.
And usually it's about half of what the property is worth, or?
Yeah, you can go, in some cases you could even go a little bit higher, but typically it's about half. So in a case like that, you can go probably up to 200, 2.25, something like that.
Okay, and that's what it's worth with the city, or what?
On market value, never based on city evaluation.
Okay, so if I can sell it more, but I guess we get someone to evaluate
Exactly. So typically what happens is the bank that we're going to be dealing with, they're going to send an evaluator. The evaluator comes in, they do the evaluation, and then they say, you know what, your municipal value is 4, it's actually worth 450, we can give you X amount of dollars. And that's it. You know, and obviously if the credit and all the, you know, they're going to look at credit, they're going to look at the income. Mostly in a situation like that, they're going to look at the income to make sure that she doesn't owe any taxes, which I'm assuming she doesn't.
No, she doesn't. No,
yeah, and that's it. That's all you need.
Going back to your previous caller, that some of the money she makes is actually from rent. So does that count?
Yeah, that's okay. That's fine.
Okay.
All right.
Great. Thanks, Roberto.
Thanks, Roberto.
Joined by Terry Kilakos, president of Northeast Mortgages. You can call with your questions. They're coming in fast and furious. 514-790-0800 or text us at 514-800. We just got one from Edward. Hi, I'm 58 years old, planning to buy my first house. I don't have a big down payment, but 50 grand in RSPs. I'm looking in Point Fortune as I want a country area, but still commutable to Montreal. Any advice? Thanks, Edward. P.S. Great show.
Thank you for that, Edward. So if you got 50K sitting in RSPs, you can actually use 25,000 of it for the down payment. If you're buying a single family home, that means that the down payment is good enough for a $500,000 purchase, because 5% of 500,000, that's 25K. So as far as down payment goes, you're good to go. It's just a matter of looking at the income and you know, going from there. So yeah, definitely no problem.
Great. And you have a couple Facebook
yeah.
messages.
So there's one from Pablo. My mortgage is up for refinancing. How does what you are talking about affect me? I am comfortable with my bank. Why shop around? Any tips on how when any tips to know when refinancing? Thanks, Pablo. So basically, if you're comfortable with your bank that you're with, obviously you stay. When the mortgage comes up for renewal, you could stay with whoever you're with, and they're going to send you the renewal papers, and you're going to renew. The only problem is that when you get those renewal papers, typically, it's much higher than what you can typically get. So it's always a good idea to look and see what's available out there. And if you really want to stay with your bank, you can go back to your bank and say, look, I would like to renegotiate. What is the best rate that you can offer me? And if they're able to offer you something good, then you stay with them. If they're not, you switch. You know, I mean, people do it all the time. They flip-flop between banks. And typically when you're coming up for renewal, you could even find banks and financial institutions, different people that are actually going to pay notary fees. So it's literally, you go from one institution to another, your fees are covered, everything's taken care of, and in most cases, you could still pay the mortgage out of your existing account. So again, if you're with ABC, because this is where you do all your banking, and you want to keep all your banking there, but XYZ is offering you a better rate, better conditions, you tell Bank XYZ, listen, give me the mortgage, I'm going to continue to pay it out of Bank ABC. And that's it. It's as simple as that.
We have time for one more. Do you want to do one of your Facebook messages? Do you want to do this text that just came in?
Go for the text.
I'm past probation, but on contract for 7 more months. My husband has had a steady job for 7 years. Good down payment possible. Do we qualify for a pre-approval?
Yeah, it sounds to me that they're a contract worker.
Yeah.
When you're a contract worker, we have to base it on 2 years notice of assessment. So we have to look at the last 2 years and say, okay, in the last 2 years, what was the income that was earned? And then based on that, we can make an assumption on what the income is. For the husband who has a steady job, no problem. Good down payment, excellent. So do we qualify? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you qualify regardless. You could be making $100,000. You still qualify for a pre-approval. It's just a matter, are you going to be happy with the number that you're going to get at the end of the day?
Terry Kilakos. He's back. He's bold. And he's bald. President of Northeast Mortgages and Chartered Mortgage Broker. It's great to be back with you.
Absolutely.
And,
but we're going to be off for the next 2 weeks.
I know. It's Easter and Easter.
Easter and Easter.
I'm coming over, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
We've got the lamb going, everything.
Excellent. I'll see you there. I'll bring, I don't know, a cake or something. You can call them anytime, 514-680-4674 at Northeast Mortgages. That's it for the new Mortgage Reality. You can watch the whole show over again. Go to Facebook, type in Terry Kilakos, and there we are. Have a great week, everybody.
The opinions expressed in the preceding program were provided for general information purposes only and should not be construed as advice from CJAD 800.